Canoe accident claims 4 lives in Borno. Justice Nyako recuses herself from Kanu's case. CBN tightens monetary policy further, hikes interest rate to 27.25%. And on the foreign scene, Burkina Faso foils attempt to destabilize country. A very good evening and welcome to the News Hour on Trust Television. My name is Sakir Ibrahim, and now to the news in full. A canoe accident in the Bakassi community between Mafa and Dikwa along Maiduguri Road in Borno State has claimed 4 lives. A statement by Public Relations Officer Borno State Command ASP Nahung Daso said the accident occurred on Monday at about 3:30 in the afternoon. The incident involved a canoe carrying passengers submerged in floodwaters, leading to the unfortunate loss of 4 females, all from Bulabrin Ward in Dikwa. The victims were promptly evacuated to Dikwa General Hospital, where they were confirmed dead by a medical doctor. Subsequently, the corpses have been released to their respective families for burial in accordance with Islamic rites. And joining us now for details on this development is Daily Trust Bureau Chief in Borno State, Hamisu Matazu. Good evening, Matazu. Welcome to the News Hour. It was just a few days ago that we were discussing the ravaging impact of the floods in wards such as Bulabrin Ward in Borno State. Talk about another devastation, persons affected due to a canoe accident in that area. Can you give us more details about how this happened?
Evening. Yes. There are, people, because of the quantum of damage that the disaster that ravaged Maiduguri, most people don't about what is happening in other local government areas of the state. The Maiduguri was caused by the overflow of Alo Dam. And what happened in Dikwa is the release of the Lagdo Dam from Cameroon, which the federal government won people and they put people on alert over the release of the water from the dam. And since that, I think a few days later, so in government in the northern part of the state, and coupled with the water that receded from spill over to those local governments. So that has just taken Gala, for example. So many places were submerged. Mapa was also submerged. Dikwa was submerged, and people resorted to using canoes as a means of transportation. What happened yesterday was the canoe capsized, and 4 people lost their lives. So I think the government need to step up action, looking at those local governments here in Maiduguri, because most people, even the government, the intervention and the rescue effort are concentrated in the capital city of Borno State. Meanwhile, other places are still experiencing devastating floods. I was in Jere yesterday. I went to Koshobi, some part of Zabarmari, to see how the people there are living, and I saw the quantum of damage caused the floods on rice farms. All those areas are agrarian population where rely on agriculture. and their crops submerged and got damaged by. And I don't think if much has been done to those people, and they are still living in despair.
All right, Matazu, please continue to monitor the situation, as we definitely will touch base with you subsequently to get more details, of course, as they come up.
Thank you.
Do have a good evening, Matazu. Hamisu Matazu, the Daily Trust Bureau Chief in Borno State. Still talking about Borno State, the State Commissioner for Health has confirmed 40 cases of cholera following the Maiduguri floods, with 2 patients already diagnosed and discharged. The announcement came during a flag-off ceremony organized by UNICEF in collaboration with the State Health Agency. The event marked the start of an integrated campaign for oral cholera vaccination, measles vaccination, and vitamin A supplementation at the Bakassi IDP camp in Maiduguri. The commissioner also revealed that 4 more suspected cholera cases have been sent to the NCDC for testing, with results pending. UNICEF's Chief of Maiduguri Field Office, Christina Maya Alfirev, emphasized that the vaccination drive aims to prevent disease outbreaks and address waterborne illnesses in IDP camps and flood-affected communities.
We thank to the government to bring us some drugs about cholera and other measles. Also, we are going to follow what they have told us, inshallah. We are clean our environment before we go back to our hometown.
From January 2024 till date, Borno State witnessed 36 suspected cases of cholera, acute watery diarrhea. Out of this, including during this flood, only 4 cases were sent to the National Reference Laboratory, which is run by NCDC in Abuja. And out of these 4, only 2 turned out to be positive. And these 2 have already been discharged home.
We are very relieved that we have received a portion of the very scarce cholera vaccines. There are only very few available globally, that we have received 500,000 doses for Borno State, and today the first children and the first mothers and the first health workers are receiving this vaccine to prevent the outbreak of cholera.
Stakeholders in the transport sector in Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have been lamenting the sharp drop in the volume of travelers following the recent fuel price hike. Speaking to Trust TV at the Jalingo main park, some of them said the hike has negatively impacted the sector, with many operators not able to meet their daily targets. Here's the report.
A visit to the Jalingo main motor park reveals that services have drastically reduced with few vehicles loading, a situation which indicates that the number of travelers have reduced significantly. A park manager, Muhammad Umar, said although they have increased prices for trips, the increase is not comparable to the present increase in price of PMS. He added that drivers are complaining that the increase in fares is not reflective of the present-day economic realities, adding that they are not able to meet their daily targets.
Alkasari ita gwamnati ba wai tana considering mutane game da wansu.
We have spent 2 days under that bridge. We have spent all the money we realized from the passengers on 4, because we got to Numa before realizing that the road was cut off. So we have to go back to Bugu and Kwaya to get here. Another passenger is willing to pay additional money.
Some drivers and road union workers also expressed worry over the current situation, saying transport fare from Jalingo to Gombe is now 9,000 naira against the previous price of 6,000 naira, while Bauchi is 13,000 naira as against 8,000 naira before the recent increase in the price of PMS.
Madadin kuɗin da zaka dan samu ka je ka ci abinci da shi zaka ƙara mai. In ka ce fasinja ya ƙara.
Right now, we barely load a single car in a week unlike before that we used to load almost 6 cars a day.
Baya ne sosai game da transport da yake tafiya a cikin tasha nan sosai. Don yanzu haka muna iya kwana.
I am traveling from Taraba to Bauchi, but there are no vehicles available due to the high cost of fuel. So I have to pass through Gombe before getting a car to Bauchi.
When you travel to the journey and come back, there will be no any income, no profits. All what you have gotten, the fuel will now take it away because of the high price of the fuel.
Before we were paying passenger from here to Lagos was 25,000, but right now we are paying 35,000. And again, before our vehicle will be moving here, we're moving 4, 5, 6. But right now our vehicle cannot move even 2, only 1. So we are picking challenges from many calibers of ways. Even our road like this, our main roads. If you can go to one of after Jalingo to this place, the bridge has cut. So that bridge too, if you come there, canoe where we pay and we cross it, we collect 6,000 naira.
Some of the commuters expressed dissatisfaction with the situation, stressing that they spend almost 24 hours just from Jalingo to Gombe due to the hike in price of the fuel.
I am traveling from a Hula Bali local government, which cost me 4,000 naira from Jalingo to Gombe. I paid 9,000 naira before. I used to pay 6,000 naira from here to Gombe, and from Bali to Jalingo was 2,500 naira to 3,000 naira. Our major challenge is delay. We set out for this journey since 10 o'clock, and now it's after 2, and we are still in Jalingo. Our drivers here have been lamenting that the amount we added is not enough, but we ask them to be patient and make do with the little they have for now. We collect 7,500 naira before from here to Gombe, but now we added just 1,000 naira, making it 8,500.
The union, road users and commuters all call on government to address the situation.
And as the economic situation in Nigeria continues to worsen, with fuel prices soaring, millions of Nigerians, particularly those in low-income areas, as well as low-income earners, are devising other means of augmenting their incomes. In Lagos State, under bridges have been transformed into business centers as thousands struggle to make a living for themselves and their families. Here's the report.
With the rising economic challenges and the high increase in shop rents, thousands of Nigerians are unable to afford proper spaces for themselves. As a result, under-bridges in Lagos State have become a booming center for various business activities, as they have now turned to them and other open spaces to sustain their businesses. In the Agege Pen Cinema area, Lagos residents who cannot afford the high cost of renting shops have set up their businesses under the bridge, believing that they will get more customers to their products than staying in shops.
The reason why everything is like just that the shop rent is on the high rate. Understand? Moreover, the price of goods and services are high, and we have to find a way for our livelihood. That's why we have to take our alternative of surviving. Shop now, to get shop is not easy. You have to pay for 3 years, and there's increment everywhere.
People have been struggling very hard in Nigeria, and because of basic needs, especially to rent house, to acquire a shop, to perform their business activity, it's very high. Even to acquire a shop, the fees is more than the market they want to sell in that.
You get a shop of 1 million per annum, 800,000 per annum. So, and some landlord are saying you should pay for 2 years. So how will somebody get money to pay for that kind of money, for that kind of rentage, and at the same time get money to stock the shop?
Manage and sell. You have to come out and for your survivor, on your children, and other things. No help in Nigeria now. So if you don't work, cannot eat. The people that are selling, they need somewhere to survive. That's the only thing.
Lagos residents are appealing to the state government to bring down the cost of essential commodities, particularly rents for shops that are being constructed by local governments.
Also, clergymen in Yanagwa, the Bayelsa state capital, have urged the federal government to put an end to the relentless rise in fuel prices. In Yanagwa, NNPC sells fuel at 885 naira per litre, while private stations charge as much as 1,200 naira. The Express concerned that the fuel price hike is crippling every aspect of life, including church operations, as fuel is essential to the daily activities of religious institutions. Trust TV's Friday, Ebimo Boy Peter completes the report.
Pastor Moses Etume of Faith Victory Church and Pastor Desmond Egbo share their struggles, noting that they used to run Sunday services with just 2,000 watts of fuel. Now, due to the price hike, they spend over 8,000, relying solely on the grace of God to keep going.
The fuel we used to run our gen before, in fact, in a service like this, we use like 2,000 and between 2 and 3,000 we've run our services. But now we are spending close to 8,000 naira to run a Sunday service. So as such, it's affecting us. And the income that is coming in the land of Egypt, while there was a confusion in the land, God was sustaining his people even in the land. Even in the wilderness, there was sustenance. I know that the Christians will survive at times like this.
Definitely affect the church, but we don't run by the economic of the country. We believe God. That's why no matter how the price is going up, we have never one day said no services because of fuel. And whosoever that knows the right thing to do, they should do the right thing. Because this one is not that I want to suffer the Christian alone, I want to suffer the Muslim. It's everybody. So they should look up to the people that they are serving. They should know that they are serving the people. So they should put their house in order.
Evangelist Izibikin, Jollyman, and Deaconess Nengi Inandi also lent their voices, saying the hike in fuel pump price is affecting everyone, both Christians, Muslims.
And away from the cost of living in Nigeria, the presiding judge in the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Justice Binta Nyako, has recused herself from the trial. On Tuesday, Justice Nyako withdrew from the trial after Kanu made an oral submission accusing her of non-compliance with the orders of the Supreme Court. Kanu had ordered his counsel, Aloy Ejimako Esquire, to sit down while he took up submission to the court after the lawyer tried to appeal to the judge to suspend the trial to enable his client prepare adequately for his defense as the date was too close. The judge's decision followed Kanu's declaration that he no longer have in the court, as the judge did not abide by the decision of the Supreme Court. Justice Nyako had been presiding over the trial of Kanu since he was first arrested in 2015 for agitations for creation of a Biafra Republic from Nigeria.
Court in Nigeria has jurisdiction to try me because since this offense was committed in England, so they said it's only a UK court that can give a Nigerian court the authority to proceed, isn't it? Yes. They charge again and remove London.
Location of the broadcast.
Location of the broadcast. Contrary to section 196,
174 of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2022.
In violation of their own laws. In violation of their own laws, and you want me to stand trial under such circumstances?
Authorities of the Nigerian Army on Tuesday announced that it has discharged a female soldier, Private Ruth Ogunleye, who accused the senior officer, Colonel Ibi Abdul Karim, of sexual harassment. The Army specifically said the female soldier was eased out of the service on medical ground after the conclusion of its probe, adding that by discharging her, she is entitled to pension and all other benefits for life. Ogunleye had, in January this year, on her TikTok page accused Colonel Ibi Abdul Karim, Colonel G.S. Ogo, and Brigadier General Ibi Solebo of making her life unbearable. She particularly said Abdul Karim made repeated attempts to assault her, administered injections against her will, forcibly removed her from her residence, and confined her in a psychiatric hospital for several months for turning down his sexual advances. Following the allegations, the Ministry of Women Affairs waded into the matter, and the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagbaja, subsequently ordered a thorough investigation. Giving an update on the matter at Army headquarters, the spokesman of the Land Forces, Onyema Nwachukwu, explained that the senior officer did not commit the offense leveled against him by Ogunleye. Nwachukwu stressed that the conclusion was arrived at after an exhaustive review of the facts, testimonies, and evidence presented during the investigations carried out. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Tuesday submitted a request to the National Assembly for an additional supplementary budget proposal for the Federal Capital Territory Administration, seeking the consideration and approval of the House of Representatives. This request was conveyed in a letter read on the House floor by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin. Here's the report.
The President noted that the supplementary budget proposal was developed based on the FCTA's revised revenue and expenditure projections, aligning with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the Renewed Hope agenda. President Tinubu emphasized that the proposal would allow the FCTA to continue prioritizing human capital development and infrastructure improvements within the Federal Capital Territory. He expressed confidence that the House would swiftly consider and approve the 2024 supplementary budget proposal.
This supplementary budget proposal has been prepared on the basis of the FCT's reviewed revenue and expenditure forecast and is aligned with the fiscal and developmental policies of the federal government and the Renewed Hope agenda. With it, the FCTA continues to prioritize improvement of human capital and infrastructure within the Federal Capital Territory.
In another development, the House suspended its plenary in honor of the late Senator Ubah, who passed away during the recess. This suspension follows the National Assembly's tradition of postponing its first session after the death of a federal lawmaker.
Senator Ubah represented Anambra South and was known for his contributions both in the Senate and as a businessman. As the founder of Capital Oil and Gas, he played a key role in the petroleum sector, helping to stabilize fuel supply and bring innovation to the industry. His influence extended to his role as chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream, where he worked on policies aimed at improving Nigeria's energy sector.
Plenary resumes on Wednesday, September 25th.
And the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has assured landowners that the 75-meter setback rule on both sides of the proposed road project will be strictly enforced. He gave the assurance in Ibadan while addressing protesters on the ongoing demolition works that may leave many property owners homeless. Governor Makinde also stated that only structures erected along the corridor will be spared, emphasizing the importance of residents adhering to the state's building regulations. Here's the report.
Residents along the circular road corridor have been protesting for days over the threats to demolish buildings along the road. The protesters remain defiant, strongly opposing the demolition of the structures beyond the 150-meter mark along the proposed Senator Rashidi Adewolu-Ladoja circular road projects. After a lengthy wait, Governor Seyi Makinde, accompanied by top government officials, addressed the property owners. He vowed to make adjustments that prioritize citizens' interests and adhere to building regulations in a bid to ease tensions surrounding the ongoing demolitions and development projects.
I told them they must remain law-abiding. That's one, and then two, anyone that has a building standing outside of the initial 150 meters, those people will be integrated. We won't demolish any of the buildings outside of the 150 meters that are already existing.
These residents, who cut across 6 local government areas in Ibadan, say they are not satisfied with the response of the state authorities. They are, however, urging governments to be humane while going forward with the project and not render many families homeless.
What we've been hearing before was that after the 150 meters, government will now take 500 meter right 500 meters left, making 1,150 meters. It has occupied the whole Ibadan.
The main issues have not been addressed. I was claiming that no houses on the 500-meter yard will be demolished. What about the lands and properties on this very same 500-meter? What about people that their house has been removed? What about the roofs of those houses that have been removed? He is not talking on this same issue.
As I'm standing here now, I served 35 years in the military, and I built my house around 1999. Somebody will now call overnight and say we demolished my house. So we are appealing to the government. We are appealing to Governor Seyi Makinde to please.
Ibadan's proposed circular road project is expected to traverse 6 local government areas, tackling traffic congestion, enhancing connectivity, driving economic growth, ensuring safety, and increasing property value.
The Kano State Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps has confirmed the death of 5 police officers following a tragic road traffic crash that occurred in the early hours of Tuesday. According to the public relations officer of the Kano Command, the incident occurred along the Zaria-Kano Road at Karfi village by the trailer park. He said the crash involved a trailer and a Toyota Hummer bus, adding that of the 15 people involved, 5 died while 10 people sustained varying degrees of injuries. The victims were identified as members of the Nigeria Police Force returning from a special assignment in Edo State where they had been deployed for election monitoring. He added that preliminary investigations by the FRSC have revealed that the crash was caused by excessive speeding, which led the driver of the Hummer bus to lose control and collide with a parked trailer. Moving on to other stories, this National Media Complaints Commission, NMCC, says the Daily Trust report on the Samoa Agreement was not in line with the Code of Ethics for Nigerian journalists, as it was not a true reflection of the content of the agreement. In a ruling after its investigation, NMCC recommended that the paper issues a public apology and take measures to prevent further occurrence, while urging the federal government to take deliberate steps to ensure that Nigerians are adequately informed about matters of public interest. NMCC also called for increased transparency and proactive information dissemination from the federal government. These are woven into the fabric of our society. Their unique abilities often inspiring wonder, but also facing misunderstanding. Behind their stories are the parents who navigate a world filled with both joy and struggle, embracing the extraordinary journey of raising these children. In this report, Sumaya Abubakar delves into the lives of these families, highlighting the resilience, love, and challenges they encounter daily.
Children with special needs once faced severe stigma and isolation, often misunderstood by society. While attitudes have improved with increased awareness and a focus on inclusion, caregivers still grapple with lingering prejudice. Despite progress, many caregivers continue to navigate the challenges of stigma, working tirelessly to ensure their children are accepted and valued in a world that does not always understand their needs.
So getting him to get injected is like you have to literally hold him. To pin him down to get injected, he was throwing a fit and I got injected. And I had a lot of people there saying things like all these mothers that cannot train their children well. One even went as far as saying all these single mothers, she's very sure I'm not married. Just being judgmental based on the way he is, not understanding. If it was in my earlier days, I would have probably started crying or feeling bad.
When I had him, the level of awareness was very, very low. And there was a cultural and traditional approach to it. A lot of people still believe that it has to do with witchcraft. It has to do with genes. It has to do with my bad behavior, somebody laying a curse on me, or me trying to do something bad to somebody and it's boomeranged.
Raising a child with special needs presents unique challenges, from managing sensory sensitivities to overcoming communication barriers. Parents often need specialized knowledge and resources to navigate these hurdles effectively. Beyond emotional resilience, many families struggle with the financial burden of therapies and support services, making their journey even more demanding.
It's difficult when you have to raise a child like that. Everything that's mass-produced, that come cheaper, that are affordable, are not things he can use.
If you are going to pay for speech therapy separately, occupational therapy separately, physiotherapy separately, it's quite a lot. So what we try to do is that we put all those services together and then we give you a bulk sum, so it doesn't have to be that much.
Raising a child with special needs can be emotionally overwhelming, making it crucial for parents to have a strong support system. With the right network of family, friends, and professionals, parents can better navigate the challenges and find the strength they need.
I think the only person that has ever really understood me from the very first day of this special need to be my dad. Even though he didn't know what it was, he has never seen this, he doesn't know what it is, but he was willing to learn, unlearn and relearn, and just hold my hand if that's all he could do for me.
I think the greatest support I've had are friends, not family, when it comes to financing. But family was not supportive. His father is not in his life.
I would always advise mothers, please don't build your life around this child. Feel free to delegate some of these duties. Join support groups. Look for people that are going through, that have the same story with you.
As we work toward breaking down barriers and promoting inclusion, it is essential to ensure that families raising children with special needs receive the support and resources they need. By providing these vital tools, we can help create a more inclusive society where every child has the opportunity to thrive.
I've had to do a lot of things. And let's just say things have been going uphill, downhill.
By recognizing their unique challenges and celebrating their strength, we can foster a more inclusion and compassionate society. This understanding allows us to support individuals with special needs and build a community where everyone is valued. Sumaya Abubakar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Many thanks to Sumaya Abubakar for that report. And moving on now, the ongoing economic crisis is taking a significant toll on students, with the rising tuition fees, transportation costs, and the prices of essential learning materials forcing some of them to reconsider their education paths. Many families are feeling the strain as they struggle to keep their children in school, leaving many uncertain about their future and raising concerns among parents and educators alike. Here's the report.
The surge in transportation costs has significantly impacted students and family across the country. Many parents are struggling to afford the daily expenses needed to send their children to school, while students are left wondering if they will be able to continue their education. Education advocates are raising alarm, calling for urgent intervention from government to ensure that the rising transportation costs do not hinder students' access to education.
My daughter have distinction for this Federal College of Education, over 4 points, going to 5 points. So, but no power for me. Anything we have, just eat, gather small money to pay the house rent. How I can afford 200,000, 400 and something thousand within how many months in the 1 year? In the school, it's 9 months. It's not 12 months. So please, we beg them. We beg them, for we that we don't have anybody, for we that those are widow, those that we don't have enough money to train children. We beg them. We beg them, we beg them, we beg them.
I cannot afford transport again. I have to trace it through. And in liberation, I move them closer to where they can tread. I have to move them from where they are before to the place that is closer, so that I can manage myself and manage the children. Because what matters most is what they will eat. That's what matters most.
And the truth is, before my family were together here in Lagos, but last year I have to move them because of the Lagos, how is it called? The cost of living is more than my own. I came from Nasarawa State. Do you understand? So School here, you cannot be able to even somebody like to put your child unless it's government school, and that government school before you put your child, they have to be a government, or you have be paying Lagos State tax, or else you cannot be able to put your child. Then school fees from, let's say, 50,000, 40,000, 80,000. Where do you want to get it? And then that last year, I'm doing a security job whereby they are paying me 45,000. As I'm talking to you right now, I have 3 sets. One JS1, other one primary 2, the last one in still in nursery school.
Students are calling on the government to take immediate action to lower fuel prices to ease the financial burden on families.
We students, what we face is due to fuel, and you know that fuel is everything. So the more increase in the fuel, the more amount we pay for transport, and we don't know the ability or the work our parents are facing, whether the salary they are giving them is either small or big. But as for we students like this, they are always increasing our money for tea-fare. And if our parents tell us that they don't have money for tea-fare, that means we will not go to school. So I'll ask the government to please reduce their increase in fuel. And so if they are able to reduce their increase in fuel, then everything can actually come down.
But now, the money that they also give at home, now the money they also give at home, can't reach money for textbook. And my practical class, and my back class, they also give us just pay for money for practical, 200 for money for practical. Inside the 700, I'm going to pay 200 inside the 700. And I'll go. I'm going to, me and my friend, I'm going to join money and lap. Going in.
They hope that by addressing the issue of rising prices, they can regain some stability in their daily routines and ensure that education remains accessible.
The Nigerian Senate has suspended plenary in honor of the late Senator Ubah, who passed away during the annual recess of the National Assembly. The Red Chamber resumed its plenary session on Tuesday following the annual recess that began in late July. Here's the report.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, read several correspondences from President Bola Tinubu. The communications included a supplementary appropriation bill for the Federal Capital Territory, the nomination of Justice Kudirat Kekereekun for confirmation as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, and a request for the confirmation of commissioners for the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
I am pleased to forward for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of 21 underlisted nominees as commissioners to fill the existing vacancies of their respective states in the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
After the formalities, the lawmakers paid tribute to the late Senator Ubah by observing a moment of silence. Senator Ubah, who passed away in late July, aged 52, represented the Anambra South Senatorial District and chaired the Senate Committee on Petroleum Resources downstream. Following the tribute, the plenary section was adjourned to honor the late senator.
We therefore extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, his constituents, Anambra State, and indeed our dear nation. At the appropriate time, we'll do justice to his legacies by devoting more time in chambers to discuss the times and life of distinguished Senator Ubah.
The adjournment by the Red Chamber is in line with the tradition of the National Assembly to suspend the first sitting after the death of a federal lawmaker.
The Coalition of Human Rights Advocates has called for accelerated hearing 2 years after the tragic death of Bimbo Ogbonna, wife of celebrity businessman Ikechukwu Ogbonna, popularly known as IVD. The coalition, made up of women's rights advocates and legal practitioners, gathered on Tuesday to demand justice for Bimbo Ogbonna, who died in a domestic violence incident allegedly involving her husband, Ifechukwu Ogbonna, popularly known as IVD. The hearing for the case, which was scheduled for Tuesday, did not take place leaving the advocates frustrated but determined in their pursuit of justice. Despite evidence pointing to long-standing abuse, including a 2020 expose by Bimbo herself, justice remains elusive. Eyewitnesses reported that Bimbo, in a desperate attempt to escape her abusive situation, set their house ablaze after enduring a brutal beating from IVD on that fateful day. Leading the group of advocates, Tony Taiwo, a legal practitioner and executive director of the Stop the Abuse Against Women and Children Foundation, urged individuals currently facing domestic violence to seek help.
We demand strengthen domestic violence laws and enforcement. We have beautiful laws, but we do not have enforcement. We also demand increased support for survivors and victims' family. Bimbo is dead, but her memory lives on. Through our unwavering pursuit for justice, Bimbo is gone, but Bimbo still lives in the lives of many women, many people who are still undergoing domestic violence as we speak right now.
My clients were so worried that there were information that the defendant is not in the country. We have made petitions to the various agencies to investigate that the defendant who was granted bail, whose passport was purportedly under the control of the court, had obtained another passport and traveled outside the shores of this country. And that the same defendant is boasting that this case is going to be adjourned perpetually and that nothing will happen. Of course, that gave me so much reason that I have to fly in from outside the country a day before today, and only to be surprised that the matter is not going to go on today.
And away from that, the Central Bank of Nigeria has for the 5th consecutive time raised the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points, taking it from 26.75% to 27.25%. The decision, according to the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso, is to maintain a continuous improvement in the Nigerian economy, stating that despite an improvement in food inflation, core inflation is still on the high side and must be curtailed. Chamunda Beng reports.
The unanimous decision by the Monetary Policy Committee to increase the NPR to 27.25% comes despite a recent decline in Nigeria's inflation rate, which according to the National Bureau of Statistics currently sits at 32.15%, a decline which has been attributed to the harvest season. According to the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso, the 50 basis point increase is necessary to rein in inflation, stating that the country is still not out of the clear.
1. Raise the NPR by 50 basis points to 27.25% from 26.75%. 2. Retain the asymmetric corridor around the NPR at plus 500 to minus 100 basis points. Raise the cash reserve ratio of deposit money banks.
Cardoso also stressed the need for Nigeria to control money in circulation, which has gone from 2.6 trillion naira to 4.05 trillion naira as of June 2024, representing a 56% increase.
Past 8 years witnessed an incredible amount of pumping of liquidity into the system. In 2015, money supply was about 19 trillion naira. And in 2023, it was 54 trillion naira. And that's a huge increase, a very, very huge increase. And a substantial amount of that, as I'm sure you all know, was through ways and means. Okay, so essentially printing of money resulted in a huge amount of money.
Despite the reasonings of the MPC, economists have advised the CBN to pause the string of tightening stances, describing the solution as artificial and short-term. They rather want the CBN to take a more sustainable route in dealing with the Nigerian economy. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching the News Hour on Trust Television. Time now to join Yusuf Akoko for the business news.
Time for some business stories. The number of unmetered customers in Nigeria has risen to 7.3 million. The latest figures released by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission in Abuja on Monday show that out of over 13.16 million registered customers, the electricity distribution companies have been able to meter only 672,539 customers. This showed a slow-paced metering effort by the DISCOs, leaving a larger number of customers heavily relying on the controversial estimated billing system. Industry experts say the slow pace of metering could worsen billing disputes and customer dissatisfaction. The federal government and the Dangote refinery have reached an agreement for the supply of 12 million barrels of crude oil to the facility in October. The arrangement falls under the Crude Oil for Naira deal, a strategic partnership between the Dangote Group and the Nigerian government. Aliko Dangote, Chief Executive Officer of Dangote Refinery, confirmed this development during an interview with Bloomberg TV in the USA. According to him, the crude oil supply is part of an ongoing agreement with the federal government to enable the refinery to process crude locally and produce petrol, diesel, and jet fuel for domestic markets. NGX closed Tuesday trading in red, reacting negatively to the decision of CBN to hike MPR by another 50 basis points to 27.25%. Let's see how the index went down today. Leading the loser is Owando Nigeria PLC, down by 10% to close at 72 naira per share. The Cavitin Helicopter also down 9.88% to close at 3 naira and 65 kobo per share. Of course, Multiverse also down 9.82% to close at 10 naira and 10 kobo per share. Of course, this has dragged down the market downward by 0.03%. Volume of trade 731.6 million shares, valued at 11.092 billion naira in a days of 11,783 lead exchanges among investors. They're looking at the top trading equities by volume. Fidelity Bank Nigeria PLC leader table, 125.45 million shares traded. Transcorp Nigeria PLC 103.35 million shares. Of course, UBA 70.8 million shares traded as well. Of course, some equities recorded gains at the close of business today. Leading that table is NIDF Nigeria Infrastructure Debt Fund, up there 9.94% to close at 111 naira and 70 kobo per share. LRX also up as well, 9.76% to close at 3 naira and 71 kobo per share. Of course, Tantalizer PLC also up 8.96%. It closed at 73 kobo per share this Tuesday. And that's the highlight of stock trading as it went down on the floor of NGS. Let's see the global stock market and exchange rate data for today. Oil prices dropped more than 2% on Tuesday on news of monetary stimulus from top importer China and concerns that conflict in the Middle East could hit regional supply, while another hurricane threatens supply in the United States, the world's biggest crude producer. And the London market, Brent crude sells for $75 per barrel. For the pay basket, dealers offer $74 per barrel. And that's business. I am Yusuf Akubu.
And away from Nigeria, Burkina Faso Security Minister Mahamadou Sana on Monday said individuals residing in Côte d'Ivoire have been involved in subversive activities against Burkina Faso. Among the accused are junta opponents, the leader of the January 2022 coup, 2 former ministers, 2 journalists, as well as unidentified conspirators, including Western intelligence officials. Authorities say an elaborate 3-phase plot was devised by some Burkinabe civilians and servicemen living abroad who paid and trained armed groups to conduct attacks. Economic operators and leaders of the civil society were allegedly involved in destabilization efforts. The second phase included attacks on the presidential palace, a military drone base, and an airport. The last phase was attacks near the Ivory Coast border. The minister revealed that several arrests had been made in Niger, leading to the dismantling of a significant portion of the plot. Let's now join Adeni Ajishafe, who's standing by with sports news.
Boxing sensation Rahim Animashaun aka Bado has emerged as the new West African Boxing Union light welterweight champion. Animashaun impressed boxing enthusiasts in the boxing bout held at the Gymnasium Hall of the National Institute for Sports Lagos, where he recorded a 6th-round technical knockout against Richmond Ashley of Ghana. In the other fight, Akeem Olaiwola had a unanimous decision victory over Williams Amosu in the national light welterweight, while Segun Adeyemi beat Semi Olakpade in a 7th-round technical knockout as Ezekiel Sheun had a 2-1 split decision win over Agbola Durotimi in the National Super Bantamweight Challenge. Akanji Maruf triumphed over Ojo Arabambi by unanimous decision, while the bout between Emmanuel Abimbola and Isaac Chukwudi ended in a draw. Another draw was recorded between Adesina Oluwatosin and Sulaiman Ahmed, while Taiwo Olowu had the fastest fight of the night, knocking out Yakub Farouk in the 1st round. Despite not keeping up to his promise of knocking out his opponent in the 5th round, champion Bado said the strategy he adopted paid off and commended the president of Didas boxing promotion, Waheed Wasiu Alabi, for giving boxers a platform to compete.
On the world level now, because my patience was stopped here. I was breaking him down round by round. But when it was round 5, I thought he was going to stop because he had a nosebleed in round 5. But nevertheless, we were breaking him down. We were breaking it down with those body shots. He was strong in the jaw, but we knew if you are strong in the jaw, you might not be strong in your body. So that's why we kept attacking the body. I kept throwing punches to the body. And that was what we worked in the gym.
Promoter of the fight, Waheed Alabi, expressed happiness that the 9th edition of the promotion ended successfully with an international title fight, promising that the 10th edition will be more glamorous. All the boxing bouts were sanctioned by the Nigeria Boxing Board of Control, NBBOC. That's Sport News. I'm Adeni Ajishafe.
And that wraps up the news hour on Trust Television. Do not forget to follow us across all of our social platforms and catch our live stream on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. My name is Sakir Ibrahim. On behalf of the crew, good night.